The next question of code forces round 918 div 4 is, can I square? So basically in this question, we are given an array. So that represents, basically there are n buckets. So the array values represent that in the first bucket, how many wooden squares are there, where each wooden square is of dimension 1 into 1. So now we have in each bucket, we have how many wooden squares. So using all the wooden squares in all the buckets, we can actually build a square. Like we should be able to build a square. We should say whether it's possible to build a square or not using all the wooden squares in all the buckets. So if we look at the constraints, test cases are 10 power 4, n can be 2 into 10 power 5, and AI values can be 1 to 10 power 9. And sum of n won't exceed 2 into 10 power 5 is mentioned. So n depends on test cases. So we should output yes, else no. Yes, if we can make a square with all the square blocks present in the buckets, else no.
So yeah, let's see how we can solve this question. So before we take a example test case and see how we can solve it, let's see what is the pattern of squares being formed with the help of squares, right? So if you just want to form a square with the help of one square, we can form that, right? We can form a square with the help of 4 squares, right? Then again, we can also form a square with the help of 9 squares here, all right? So do we observe a pattern here? This is 1 square, this is 4 square, this is 9 square. Now, if I was given 5 squares or 5, 6, 7 or 8, anything in between, will I be able to form a square? No, right? Which means there is some form of pattern here. 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 9. What are these numbers? 1 is basically 1 square. 4 is basically 2 square. And 9 is basically 3 square, right? So from this, we can say that if the sum of all the numbers in the array, if it's a perfect square, then it's possible, or else it's not possible, right? So let's take an example case. Let's say we have an array of size 6 with numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Okay. So this will sum up to 20, 27, 32, 35, and 36, right? So this will sum up to 36. Okay. Now we know 36 is a perfect square because root 36 will give us 6 exactly. The way we can check that is just simple. We can just check by saying square root of the number we obtained. If it's equal to the floor of square root of the number. Okay. So basically we do the floor operation because in case if this condition satisfies, it means that our answer is a perfect square, right? Because square root will return a double value and this will return a integral value, right? So this, if let's say it's not a perfect square, in that case we'll get a double value, which is basically it will be in some decimal point value, right? And this will return like the floor value of it. So if it's not a perfect square, this will return false. But if it's a perfect square, this value will be exactly equal to this value, right? So yeah, if we just put a check for this condition for the sum of all the numbers in the array, then that should give us our answer. In this case, it would be yes, or else it would be a no. Okay.